Welcome everyone to Quick Start Lab. I'm Andy Tanner on this fine day to be trading some stocks. We're going to do some really fun things today. We're going to do some great learning today. First order of business before we welcome Corey. Let's make sure all the raise of hand type stuff works. And if you can hear me, look, but you guys are all ahead of it. Look how many Brians we have today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Brians. Arthur Jones up there in the A's putting his hand up. Bill Welch putting his hand up. We got 2 Arthurs. Great job, you guys. Okay, I'll put your hands down so everyone can hear us. Let me also blow up my question box. And hi, and thanks for doing this. This is awesome. John Paul, we're following GLD. James Rickards. James Rickards. I have his book on my shelf, John Paul. James Rickards is a very close friend of Robert Kiyosaki. So we will talk about this. Yeah, good old James Rickards, The Road to Ruin, and also The New Case for Gold. In fact, his son was on my podcast not too long ago. You know what his son sells? Do you know James Rickards, Corey? You keep going mute on me, man.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
who he is, and I've read some.
Do you know his son? Do you know what his son sells in his fund? Water.
No idea.
Water
Oh, really?
fund. Well,
Huh.
I guess, do you know how water is translated in most farming is in the tomato, right? I mean, you have to get the water there. I mean, it's tough. So anyway, he has a water fund.
Interesting.
Did we start early? Nope. We're right here on time, and we're rock and rolling. So David Moody, I wonder if that's not the David Moody I know, but I know David Moody's like the best guy ever. So that's awesome. Okay, so we'll talk about that gold. John say, are we live? I guess that proves we are. Dave Moody said thanks, so I guess we are. You guys having aftershocks? We have had no aftershocks recently, so there we go. Fun stuff, guys. This will be recorded and obviously put in for your review along with the past 5 years worth of stuff we've done. Welcome to the program, Corey Halliday. How are you today?
I'm doing so good. Happy to be here.
Tell you, I'm doing well as well. It's a fine day. I feel like we might see the end of the tunnel in coronavirus. The market is bullish today over hopes of seeing numbers out of Europe that are starting to peak. And the more those numbers in Europe peak, the more models that peak, the more predictable they feel it'll be for the US. And so, boy, I would sure love to. The best scenario right now is that we pick up a ton of stocks while they're discounted and this thing recovers quick. And we learn lessons for the big one because I think the big one's coming. And we might even have helped ourselves out with the big one with all this stimulus, but we'll see. We'll see, but who knows? This is the disclaimer. We never gloss over this. We always give it the due that it needs. For educational purposes only. What does the word only mean to you, Corey?
Only means without exception.
Hey,
How about that?
You live in Utah. How many wives do you have?
Only one, for
Only
sure.
one. Only one. How many wives do I have? Only one. There's just singular. There's only, like, what do you want on your pizza? Only pepperoni. That's all I want, so there you go. So the word only means that this is education. Now, why am I hammering this so much? Because we've got some really awesome trades we've done. We've made money on every trade we've done. And so when people see, oh, we made money every time, we'll just do this. We'll just go out and make all this money. We'll do this. We won't do it in the simulated account. We'll break all the rules. And, you're free to break the rules, but you got to know you are breaking the rules because the rule is education only. So there you go. We had so much fun. We got a little punchy last time. We got to be careful not to get punchy, but we had a good time last time. Secondly, we're going to use transactions to illustrate what we're doing. And so we'll continue to do that. We got some fun stuff. We're going to do 2 trades today. So, don't you love teaching the Iron Condor?
I love it. Yeah,
I love watching it because it's the epiphany people have when you do it. They're like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And then they go blow up their account.
Yeah.
Don't blow up your account. Keep it on paper. If you keep it on paper, you can't blow up your account. No warranties are made. It's interesting. I was talking to Mike Dennis in the morning, and we have, if you go to my website, we have a lot of testimonials, and the ones I love are the ones where they say, Corey makes this so simple, or these guys, they make learning fun and all this. So I've had people write and say, I make X amount, I made this, I made $7,000 or $10,000. We don't use those testimonials because we don't want to imply anything. So we appreciate those, though. I love it when people write in and say they're making money. I love that. But the ones we publish are Andy makes it simple, and I like that even more. So there you go. This stuff is risky. Now, this gets harder to communicate because the better job we actually do in these sessions managing risk, the harder it is for people to remember this. Let me give you an example of a Mentor Club trade. Square. We have Square in here. I think you might like this risk graph, Corey, when I show it to you. Oh, we changed it. Let's look at IBM instead then. IBM's got it. That's a pretty good looking risk graph, would you say? Right
Yeah,
there.
look at that.
Anything wrong with that risk graph right
Well,
there?
that risk graph looks like it's above zero all the way as far as the eye can see, which is always a good place to be.
There's no risk in this trade. We're up $6,000, but there's no risk in the trade. So people see this, right? All investing involves risk. Well, are we investing here? Are we investing here? Yes. Is there risk here? No. So that seems like a contradiction to say, okay, all investing involves risk. Okay, this is obviously an investment. Well, you have risk of losing 6,000 down to 280. That's a risk. And when we started, we probably.
And you mean giving back profits?
Yeah,
You have the risk of giving back up to 6,000.
And when we started, we risked 1,000. We risked $1,000 when we started this. Boink. Now we're not. So just understand, when you start out, with every trade has risk when you start out. Okay,
Yep.
every trade. So.
Yeah, and we get that question from time to time. Can I start a trade with no risk? And the answer is no. I mean, if you can find a zero risk, high reward trade, tell me about it. Because my experience has been it's too good to be true. You're not going to get the order filled or whatever. So you can't start anything with zero risk, but you can absolutely adjust your way into a zero risk trade, which is exactly what you've done here. You just made an adjustment, so now you have no risk and only potential reward in it. Pretty cool.
Yeah, Square, we can lose $800 here with Square, so that still has risk, even though it's really a nice risk graph. It's a good-looking risk graph. Okay, let's go back and review where we are, shall we, everyone? Let's get down to business. GLD. We did GLD, and it's looking pretty good. I just do this all the time, and it bugs me because, let's see if I can widen this a little bit, like so, and bring this down a little bit like so, and now. Okay, so let's type in some answers. Let me get to my box here with everyone. And, oh, this is so awesome. Zoran, freaking awesome. He just opened up a paper trade account with Interactive Brokers. Zoran, where do you live in the world? Can you type that in for me? Zoran Draka.
And one of our homework assignments was watching the beginner boot camp, which actually talks about opening up a brokerage account.
Yep. How are you guys doing in Sweden, Zoran? Man, are you guys okay corona-wise up there? You guys battening down the hatches? How you guys doing? You doing okay? So our international students, that's a great selection in my opinion. They're not even testing where Larry is. Interesting. Look at this, France. Just open an account here live in France. We all over the world. Just so good to have you guys with us. Venezuela. Ryan from Boise. You guys got shook up just like we did. Little earthquake up in Boise. Germany, Spain,
Costa
UK,
Rica,
Vietnam. Everyone's putting in their country now. Look at
Germany,
this.
West Australia.
In fact, okay, I'll let this fill up and then I'll do a screen capture and everyone can see this. New York, Patrick battening down the hashes. Max is in Los Angeles. Canada, eh? We love Canada, eh? Okay, you got 10 more seconds to put your thing in here, and I'm taking a screen capture of this. I'm just going to take it right now. Wham. Look at this. Incredible.
They're still filling up. We're not going to be able to capture
I'm not
them
going to be
all.
able to fit it all. Yeah. New Zealand, Panama. You guys can't believe the international audience here. This is so cool. I'm going to show you this. Look at this. Incredible. Venezuela, Boise, Italy, Sweden, Germany, Spain. Spain! What's up? Says Ryan. Costa Rica. Hey, didn't you hang? Were you in Puerto Rico or Costa Rica? Which one?
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Can you whip off some Spanish though for us?
Claro que sí.
I guess that means yes. Sure, I can. Yes.
That means sure I can. Yep.
6.5 from Ryan up in Boise. Boy, that was a big deal. India, Vietnam. Look at this. Vietnam. I'm teaching a class exclusively for Vietnam students this Friday. Exclusively. Bulgaria, Czech Republic. Interactive broker since 2019. I have spoken in the Czech Republic before. Canada, Grand Junction, New York, Netherlands, Tibet, coast of Canada, Belgium, Los Angeles, Canada, North Carolina. Got a Tar Heel here. You Tar Heel or a Dookie, Chris? Tar Heel or Dookie? Let's see. Wolfpack.
Oh, Wolfpack throwing a curveball on you.
Hang on. Should I get in Chris's head a little bit? Chris, my wife. All right, we got to hurry on this because we got to get to trading. But this is fun. My wife tried to kill me, Chris. She tried to kill me for my 50th birthday, and what she did is she bought me a ticket. It's so bad. She bought me a ticket or a whatever it is to Krzyzewski's fantasy basketball camp. Let me tell you, it was legit. Okay. Look at this. I'm kind of a basketball junkie. Look, they're hanging out with Magic. That was pretty cool with my fam. So check this out. Let's see if I can find this. Hey, Vietnam. There's my buddies in Vietnam. So here we go. There's my wife in New Orleans. Hang on. I'll show you this. There's my nephew getting in the NCAA tournament. There's my basketball team. I'll get there. That's a little basketball practice I did. We do a lot of basketball. There's my son. How come I can't find it? Hang on, I'll find it. I'll find this. I got to show you this picture for the Dukies, and then we'll get down to business. While I find this, talk about some stock stuff, Corey. Go. Talk about this trade. Where we're at
so
in the percentage.
Let's chat. You got it. So GLD, if you're looking at this chart, we can see again that aqua line is where we're going to be at expiration. We had smaller amount of reward up above the zero line. We had a larger amount of risk, but we had a really high probability trade because we set our marks, we set our strike prices all the way down there at 136 to 131. So notice 136 is right up there where our max profit starts to fall off. If you look at that little corner in the top left of that turquoise color, that's at about 136, and then we start to fall. We hit a break even below 136 because we get to keep that credit received no matter what. So even below 136, we have a little bit of padding before we start to lose. Once we hit below our break even, we start to lose below that, which is capped down at the bottom corner, 131, and it flattens out from there. Now notice where the stock is at, way up there in the mid 150s. Obviously, time has ticked away. If time has ticked away, this is a credit trade. Think about it like this. As an insurance company, we said, we'll sell you a few weeks of time, and our bet is GLD or gold prices are not going to go down sharply down there, and we're willing to take in some premium, some payment from you to insure you for this $5 move if it were to drop down here. but we're betting it won't, and you want to pay us some money because you want to be insured in case it does. Somebody paid us that money. Time has now ticked away,
Yeah.
and the stock has not gone down, and it doesn't look like it's going to go down. So the value of this trade has shrunk, meaning we can buy it back now for most of the gain.
33.92. So
33,
$5 off,
so
$4 off.
$33 out of the 38 we paid. We could probably buy this trade back and lock in, you know, 90% of the profit or what have you. Or we could try and just let it expire, right?
I understand we got the $38 up front. It's just we still have the commitment. So the way this graph works is it says, hey, if you were to release yourself from the commitment, you'd keep 33.96 of the 38 you already got. Is that a good way to say it, Corey?
Exactly right. What we would basically have here is a payment back to the market to close out our promise early. So we can buy, you can close any trade you put on early, right? It's a market. So I can go into the market and put on a trade. I can go into the market and take off that trade. The question is, what pricing are you going to get? We collected our credit up front. So to get out of this trade, we either have to buy it back, meaning we have to send some money back to the market to close it out, or we have to let it expire. If we can let it expire, we make the full $38 credit. If we pay $5 back to close it out early, we only made 33 because $38 credit minus 5 paying the market back to close it out, that's our profit. So we can buy our way out of the promise. What would happen if the stock had tanked to the downside? Well, then to buy back that promise would have been quite expensive because now we're in the wrong trade and we would have to pay more money, probably more than the 38 we received, which means you can get out of the trade early, but you'd be taking a loss. Right now, we can get out of the trade early and we'd be taking a gain because we've been right, because we had the right trade on, essentially.
So here's my question, and I'm going to quiz you guys on this, okay? I found my Dookie picture, but that'll be later, Chris. Let's find this answer and type this in the question box. If I promise to buy this at $136, and let's say that's the only trade I did, okay? So what I'll do is I'll uncheck this one, okay? And we'll take this like here. Let's just take it to where, can I get 0 to fit here? Okay, good. So it's all the way down to 0. I'm going to do this on 100 shares. So if I make a promise to buy this stock at $136 right here, and the stock were to go to 0, okay, what's my risk per share? In other words, if I promise to buy at 136 and gold becomes free, which would be the risk, how much am I losing? 136. You guys are 100% right. Every single person got it, except I love Jerry. Jerry says, wait. It's not 136 because didn't I pick up $36? Yes. So it's 136 minus this 44 cents that we brought in. Everybody got that? 44 cents that got in.
Well, actually 82 cents.
Yep.
For the 136. Yep.
So what we did is we said, all right, this is a promise to buy at 136. Now, what if this thing went down to 131? What if you just bought stock, right? And it went down to 131. Well, now if you could buy at 136, but then you also had the choice to sell at 131, that means you'd be spending 136 to buy it, but then you'd be collecting 131 to sell it. So if you are buying at 136 and you're selling at 131, what's your new risk now? $5 minus the premium collected and premium spent, right? Both, but you got to figure in your premiums. So now when we add that to this risk graph, boink, now we only have, and it's on 100 shares, right? So that'd be $500 minus the premium collected, which is 38. So 462 is our risk. Does that help for me to draw this on this side right here? Does that help, guys? Everyone's understanding this, okay? Now, you know, Christina makes a good point here. She goes, could we roll this trade? we could take this money right now and we could simply say, look, we're going to buy. The chances of us losing on this are pretty freaking small. It's a 98% chance based on standard deviation. We're just going to collect this money. Only 1% chance we would, be down in this area. So what the idea is, what's my time worth? I mean, when I can collect 33 of the 38, keep 33 of 38, I could maybe roll this up and just do a new trade where the strike price is closer. So maybe I say, hey, I'm willing to buy at 140 and just redo the trade. And that's called rolling the trade. We could just redo it. Okay, but that's where we are. Now, let's think about this for a minute, Corey. The chances, let me put in another price slice here. The chances of it getting here are, about below 2%. What if I add a price slice? And what if I just say, hey, you know what? What if I went out like the edge of the standard deviation? I said, well, there's only 11% chance it might get up here. In fact, what if I did this? And this is why these are so much fun to explain to people. What if I did this? What if I went up here? Let's just look at some premiums for fun, shall we? Let's just look at some premiums for fun, Corey. And you can tell me what you like. Should we see if we can get something for the sake? And you might be muted again.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's muting
Yeah,
you automatically. Okay.
Yeah, I mute up because I'm typing away, so I don't want it to be
Oh,
tick 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 in the background.
let's look at the call side a little bit, shall we? And let's just look up here at the call side and see what kind of premiums might be available. Where's my at?
So it's at 155.
Okay,
Go down to like, yep, there
there
we go.
So one of the things you can do with delta is that's kind of a poor man's way to look at the probabilities. I mean, it'll be close. So if we went, what do you think? Somewhere around in here, do you think, Corey? What
Yeah,
do you like? Should we
probably
go
up.
way conservative?
Yeah, I mean up in there, and probably looking at a trade that's outside of that standard deviation, because we're going to create kind of
Yeah,
symmetry to the other side, right? We've
yeah.
got this one over there. We might create something over here that's highly probable and double dip, essentially, where we're making a credit on the other side. Now we'll try
Let's
and
look
make
at
a
this.
credit on this side. So what about the
So
170, 175?
let's build it. Let's build it one at a time. This will be cool. So let's sell this one. So watch this. We'll just move this over here a little bit if I can. So watch this. What if we did this? What if we said, let's look at one. What was that strike again? I moved it over too far.
170, 175. Yeah, just
right.
the 170 to start.
Okay, so we're gonna come over here, and what if we do this? And we say, we'll make another promise. I promise to sell at 170. Just make a promise to sell. Now, let's just look, let's not pay attention to this trade down here. Let's just look at this one by itself. And I'm going to ask a important question here. Let's not care about what premium we get for this. I mean, it's here. We're going to get about 68 cents for it. But what's my risk? Don't count this one down here. Just what's the risk on this top trade if we did this all by itself? What's the risk? This is a tough one. This is kind of a trick question. Okay, Jerry got it right. Yeah, we'll get to that, Zoran, in just a bit. Someone said very low. See, this is why this is a trick question. Okay, stop answering just for a minute. Stop answering just for a minute. Let's do some learning, and then I'll ask again. Okay, let's just look. Okay, now someone said, Jason said, well, Brett got it right. So far, I'll tell you who's got it right. Jerry's got it right, and Brett's got it right. We've only got two. But I like the way it was put here is, could it go to 170? Now think about this. Do we own any stock right now? Do we own any stock right now? Yeah, we don't own any stock. So watch this. If it were to go to 175, then how would we be able to keep our promise to sell if we don't own the stock? Well, we would have to buy the stock at 175 to keep our promise to be able to sell it at 170. So what if the stock went to 190? Well, then we'd have to buy the stock at 190 because we're what's called naked right now. We don't have any stock, right? We've just made a promise and bought a promise. So we've made a promise and we own one option. That's all we own here. We own the option to sell at 131. That's all we own. We've made a promise to buy at 136. We made a promise to sell at 170. So we don't own the stock. So that means if we're going to make promises to sell at 170, then if this goes to 171, we got to buy at 171 to sell at 170. If it goes to 200, we got to buy at 200. So let's say the gold went to 200. How much would we lose? If the gold went to 200, how much would we lose? I'm asking you these questions. So very good. Karma's first. 30 bucks, 30 bucks, right? Minus the premium. Very good. I love these. I love Terry, how it's like, yeah, always got that premium in there. I love the word simoleons, Brett. Yep, 30 simoleons per share. Yep, Brian has it right. So how high could this go? It could go to 200, 300, 400. If I went to the risk graph, how far could I scroll out? Let's get rid of some of these. How far could I scroll out to the right? How far could I go? 200, 210, 220? How far could I go? Oh, infinity. Okay, so now I'm going to ask the question again. If I promise to sell at 170, what's my risk? Now I'll ask the question again. What's the risk? I think you guys already wrote it in, a lot of you. It's infinite. Very good. I think we learned something. So some of you guys originally saying, oh, it's 170. It's just, it's unlimited risk, right? It's unlimited risk. So how might I solve that? Can anyone give me an idea? How might I solve that? Well, here we have a $5 risk, right? If I promise to buy at 136 and it goes down, but I have the choice to sell at 131, how might I solve this on the top side? Someone said to buy a call at 175. What do you think, Corey?
Love it.
What do you think?
Yep.
Oh, these guys are freaking smart, man. So if we say at 175, we say, look, I have the choice. Now, I buy this call, which I have the choice to buy it at 175. Well, now let's see what would happen. If we have to sell it at 170, but it went to $200, what could I do at $200? Well, I can still buy at 175, can I? And then I could sell at 170. So even if the stock went to 200, I could buy at 175, and then I could keep my promise to sell at 170. So what would my risk be now? Who can say it? What would my risk be now if I do this? Okay, $5 less premiums, right? Very good, 5 less premiums, good. Now, this is what's interesting, I'm gonna write this down. So the risk here is $5 minus whatever premium, right? And the risk here is $5 less whatever premium. We'll just call it 5 and change. So if I were to do all of these together, and this is the fun moment of teaching this trade. If I did all of these together, if I have $5 risk on the top and $5 risk on the bottom, someone type in the total risk of this trade. In your marks to go, what's the total risk I'm taking? Interesting. Now this is my favorite part. Okay, so listen up, Zoran, listen up, Cassia and Ken and Joyce. My total risk is 5 less premiums, and I'll tell you why it's 5. The stock can't be in both places at the same time. One of them I have to win on. Where's the stock today? The stock today is what, Corey? About 150?
Right in the middle, 155. Yep.
So the stock, if it goes here, I can't lose on the bottom one. The stock goes high, I can't lose. If it goes high, I can't lose on the bottom. If the stock goes low, I can't lose on the top one. So since the stock can't be in both places, the bank knows this. And so my total risk, if I do this trade, is only going to be the $5. And you notice Corey used the term double dip, that my risk on this trade bringing in the extra premium is going to be actually even less than doing one by itself. Let me say that again. My risk on this is less on doing both of them than it would be doing one. Now, where I get screwed up is, remember, there's my probability is going to decrease now, because now I have a smaller window in which to operate. So probability gets worse, but premium and risk get better. Probability gets worse, but premium and risk get better. Why? Because it's $5 and I'm collecting more premiums. So if you like this trade, give me, someone said, Brian said, my mind just popped. Yeah, Tom, it's the same time frame. This is why, oh, I see now, Michael Wheeler says, this is why it's so much fun to teach this, because people say, look at all this. Light bulb,
Yeah.
look at this. Look how fun, watch
Mind
this.
blown, baby.
Yeah, well, this is what's fun. Hang on, watch, I got to show everybody this. This is so fun. Hang on. This is why it's so much fun to teach this, because if you do it right, everyone gets the epiphany. Everyone gets the epiphany at the same time. So watch, hang on, I got to show everyone's comments. This is
Yeah.
show everybody what.
Yep. To answer your question, $5 minus 2 premiums
Yep.
is your risk.
Yep.
Yep.
$5 minus 2 premiums. So here's everyone's reaction right here. Look at this. Oh, this is kind of what it sounds like on my honeymoon. I don't get this anymore, but this is what it was. Oh, got it. Thank you, light bulb. Oh, shit. Like you, Ken. Ken's my type of guy. Epiphany. Trick question. Oh, okay, I got it. So I like this. So this is fun stuff, right? Boom, Billy says. That's exactly right. Jeannie, is it Jeannie? It's exactly right. This is called an iron condor. So let's take a picture of this and let's build it. And we'll do one slow and we'll do one fast. Fair enough? And then we'll get out of here in good timing. So let's build this. Let's put this back on. And let's go back into add simulated trades. So if we're going to sell this one, we have $5 difference here, right? So to make this nice and balanced, I like that 175. What do you think, Corey?
Yeah, I like it.
Buy the 175 right here.
Yep.
Okay. We'll shave the spread.
And the reason we're doing $5 distance is just that's what we chose to start with our put side. So we're just keeping balance on the call side, but there's nothing magical about the number 5 or anything like that. You could have a tighter distance between your spread and wider, it changes your risk to reward. So we liked it to start.
So let's see, 67, 69 will probably get 68. Would you agree?
Correct.
And 42 and 45 probably get 43, I guess.
43, yeah.
Maybe somewhere in there. So now we get this. And look, we had that right, almost right there. So watch this. I'm going to go set slices to break even on 418. Okay, now this is ridiculous. So now instead of getting 38, okay, now instead of getting 38, watch this. Now we're getting 63, and watch this. Here the risk is 437. Before, the risk was 462, but because we're bringing in more premium, now the risk is 437 on both sides, but it can't be in both places at the same time. So that's why the risk is the same. If it goes down here, this is our risk. If it goes up here, there's a risk. And what's sick and wrong and ridiculous is here we were at a 90, where is it? I got to get rid of this here. We're at a 98% chance of doing well. Here we are at a 90, let's just set these slices right on the money at break even. We're at a 92% chance of success. Now, this is so dangerous because it gets people excited. Okay, here we go. How much, let's see if you guys get this. How much, oh my gosh, you guys are so freaking funny. Oh, you guys are killing me with your comments right now. Did you see the one on the Red Sea?
Yep. And the Red Sea parted.
And
Love
the
it.
Red Sea parted. Corey Moses Halliday. Great job. Okay. So watch this. Let's go here. Let me get down here. And the Red Sea parted. Okay, now this is amazing. Roger Weaver says, "You are freaking kidding me. We can do this. Why doesn't everyone?" Roger, why doesn't you know what? Here's an interesting thing. Roger, watch this. I have a little rental house that I bought about 10 years ago. Well, probably about 15 years ago. And I bought it for like 130,000 bucks. And the people that were in there built that home in 1956, and they got in financial trouble. And they called their son and they said, "Hey, we're going to have to move in with you because we've got in financial trouble. We've got in what they call these predatory loans is really what had happened is some salesman had called them up, had them take a bunch of equity out, do all, and they got in a mess. And this guy's like in his 70s at the time. He's retired Air Force, so he gets his check from the government. So his son calls me and says, "Andy, my parents are in a mess. I'll let them move in, but my kids are noisy. They won't like that. Can you help?" I said, "You bet. First thing we got to do is get this house out of the bank's hands." So I went and I just bought the house. And then I restructured it and refinanced it to where they could afford it and stay in. I actually got their payment less, renting it to me, less. And at the closing, they're a great Catholic family, and they're called the Gallegos family, and I call her Sister Gallegos because she's such a good Catholic. And she started to cry, and she goes, "I feel like I'm losing my." I go, "Why are you crying?" She goes, "I'm losing my house." I go, "Whose walls are these? Whose garden is this?" I go, "You're not going to even know the difference." And they didn't want the son didn't want the house because he splits it between 6 siblings. So he had cancer and he lived there for 10 years happily. He passed away. And when he passed away, his wife said, "I really love it here. Can I just stay?" I says, "You can stay as long as you want." And I've never raised their rent, not in 15 years, nor will I, because I don't need to, because it's I make $100 a month or whatever on a couple $100 a month. That's it. And during this time, the government's still going to pay her his pension from the Air Force. And so the income is secure. The house has doubled in price since I bought it. And she gets to live there happily and peacefully as long as she wants to. And here's my question to you, Roger Weaver. Why doesn't everyone do that? Why doesn't everyone do that? I've got a bunch of gold sitting in my safe. Why doesn't everyone do that? Right? It's just incredible that people don't do this. It's incredible. It does take time to do, and it does take time to learning. And the biggest reason, Roger, why people don't do it, most people won't spend $2,000 to learn financial education. Most people won't do it. So it's a great comment, Roger. Most people that I offer this class to say, "Oh, you know what? It's just too much money to learn how to do this." They'll spend $300,000 on law school, but they won't spend $2,000 on this. That's the answer, Roger. It really is baffling, isn't it, Corey, that people wouldn't want to learn how to do this.
Absolutely. I mean,
So,
you look at this strategy, and there is some management that goes into it
there
in
is.
terms of if it starts to move against us, right?
Yes.
And so there's always risk involved in the trade, but notice our high probability of success. So we're putting on trades that both have
This
a high
could have been
probability
better.
of success.
If we
But
had put this on earlier, it would have been probably just as good. But anyway, yeah,
yeah,
keep going, Corey. High
yeah,
probability.
and that's a good point, is we could have put this on at the same time. So you can build this as one structure and put on the iron condor altogether. This was kind of good in that this is called legging in. So we did the bull put spread. Remember, we did the bull put credit spread when we first met. Now we're talking about adding the bear call credit spread. Remember, we did a bear call on EOG last week. It's the same
Yeah,
concept,
we'll do it. We'll do that one
same
separate.
strategy. When you combine the two, that's called an iron condor. So we collected a credit on a high probability trade that it won't go way down here. And we collected a credit on a high probability trade that it won't go way, way up here. And so as long as it stays in this range, now notice where the stock is, around 155. it's from now to April 17th, which is the expiration for this trade. Where's it expected to stay between? Look at this shaded area.
Yeah, this
Roughly
is
145 to 165.
this
Or
gray
either of,
area. Let's not
yeah.
go off that too quick. This gray area represents one standard deviation in that time frame.
So
So this is
68%
what we would expect.
probability of
Yep.
it staying between 145 to 165. So is it likely to be above 170 and hurting us on this call
Let's look at it.
side? No, it's not.
This way. Let's look at it this way. I can set these slices to a chart. Okay, on gold. Hopefully it'll let me do it. Okay, so here's where we are right now. So this is the range. Oh my gosh. And what's beautiful, we didn't plan this, normally we would, but let's look at the second pillar. What's the name of the second pillar? Technical analysis. Well, look where support is, for crying out loud. So this actually, we got resistance, little resistance, it becomes support. This actually, just out of coincidence, we should have looked at this first actually, Corey, but we just liked the premium there. This couldn't have worked out any better because we're in between support down here, and we've never hit this unknown place before, and this is where we're sitting today. So as long as the stock stays either above this line or below this line, we collect the premiums, and all of the options just simply go away, and we make $63. Now let's make sure this. So John Paul, you understand that as long as the stock stays in this range, we have a profit. Now our first one was what we had 38 cents between the two. Here 68 minus 43,
25 cents on that
25
side.
cents. So now we're going to have a total of $63 instead of 38 on 437 risk instead of 460 risk if it stays in the area. And this is what's nuts, is this is a sideways strategy. And this is a really bad strategy to do right now because the market moves so much. We're just teaching it to you so you know it. But if the market is stagnant and going sideways, this is a way to make money on a stock that just sits, and we call it a stock in a box. It just sits in this box and it just kind of goes up and down. You know, the Procter and Gambles of the world and stuff, they just kind of sit there and they go up a little over time. But the chances of this getting up here in what, 10 days from now, probably, or what is it? What's
Yeah,
today, the 6th?
it's about
11 days.
11 days.
The chance of this going up this far in 11 days is only about 5%. The chance of this dropping below this in 8 days is, or 10 days, 11 days is below 1%. So there's a 92% probability based on standard deviation that gold is going to sit in this range and going to pay us $60. Now, how much money is the brokerage going to want us to have in the account for this trade? How much? Does anyone know? How much is the brokerage going to want us to have? I'll give you a little hint down here. What are they going to want to have so you can cover your promises? So your amount, that's right, you're going to need $437 to do this trade if you want to make 63. Now watch this. 63 bucks divided by $437. That's 14% on your money. And I can't call it 11 days because we put this on before, but we've been meeting less than a month. So that's 14% on your money in a month at a 92% probability of success. Is that sick and wrong? Is that just sick and wrong? It's like, that's nuts I mean, that's just incredible, okay? Absolutely incredible. So this makes less, and now the reason this makes less sense here, why are they paying us so much? Why is this, they're paying us so much? I would usually try to get 7% here in a normal market, Corey, is what I'd probably go for. I might get 10% with an 80% chance of probability, okay? Let me ask this. Do you guys understand? Chris said I should have taken this class sooner. I will just tell you this. this is hard to teach, actually. This is harder to teach than people think. We hope that we're good at it and that we make it, simpler, but there's a lot on here. I mean, you throw someone says, why doesn't everybody do this? Throw up a chart. Like, I'll tell you what, take this same chart and teach this to your neighbor and see how it goes. It's tough. It is tough. Okay. I'm going to make a recommendation. Yeah, go ahead, Corey.
And I was just going to say that where I've seen people get hurt is because this is high probability and because it has a good return and so forth, they fall in love with a single strategy. So this can work great as a portion of one's portfolio. If you say, okay, I've got X amount of money and I'm going to use this portion of it, this small portion for this type of trading, fantastic. If you say, I'm going to put all of my trades and I'm going to diversify, but I'm going to do iron condors all over the place on this stock and on that stock and on that stock. Well, by the time you're done, you have all your money in one big iron condor in essence, because you have it in, GLD and this stock and this stock. But what if the entire market goes crazy? Now you've got a big, huge problem on your hands. So if you look at it from the standpoint of, greed, your temperament is so important. And we talk about this,
huge.
where your temperament is, wow, this seems like I can't lose, so I'm just going to load the boat. And that can get you into trouble.
This 5%, this 6% is very, very real. You do this trade 100 times, one of them one of these is going to go south here, and 6 of them are going to go south here, and 92% of them are going to be fine here. But knowing what to do when it goes south is going to be huge. And you can see the temptation that right here we got $63. Now I would not do one. My account's bigger. I'm not $63. That's not worth. I mean, what? You're going to go supersize my meal at McDonald's for my family for $63? I mean, come on, I want more than that. So, but I don't do more than usually 10 of these. Like $630 would be plenty for me. On a $4,000 risk, that would be great for me, right? And that would not be even in 1% of my account, right, at that point, right? So that's cool stuff.
Right. And that would be very irresponsible in a way for somebody that only had $4,000 in their account to try to make $600. And so that's kind of my point is these are great strategies, but they're a portion of one's portfolio, and you're going to learn other trades and other approaches that are different. Traders refer to this as there's trading lingo of being long something or being short something, and you'll hear this often. Long means I want the value to go up. Like they'll call it long stock. Okay, I want the value of the stock to go up. When you're short something, you want its value to go down. So is this trade, are we long or are we short? What is this type of trade?
What a great question. That's like
is this a long trade or a short trade?
That's like a test type of question, Corey.
Yeah, that's a good one, right?
Well, I'll give people a hint. Let's just see, because in a way, do we have long trades and short trades? Right. So here I
see a lot of answers that are both.
Yeah. Well, let's play their advocate. If I see a long trade here and a short trade here and a short trade here and a long trade here, we're not looking at the gold that we own. We're just looking at these 4. I can see a long, a short, and a long. But let's look at it this way. I got 88 cents on my short and 44 cents on my long, 68 cents on my short, 43 cents on my long. So if I were to add those together, if I'm 43 long but 68 short, if I'm 44 long but 82 short, am I more short or more long overall? Net, am I more short or long? Go again.
Great way of pointing that out. And in trading, we need to pay attention to which option is most important, right? Exactly, which option is most important? Because remember, the ones we bought were just to cover us, just for protective purposes. So they're not the important part of the trade. They're in case something goes wrong, right? The important part is that we're trying to short these middle option, that 136 put. That's the one we're trying to make money from. We're just using some of that money to buy our own protection. And that 170 call, hey, that's the one we're trying to make money from. And we're buying that 175 call to not allow it to be naked and have that infinite risk. So here's the point. We are short this trade. This is a short trade. And that's why we get a credit, right? That's why we collect that money. Another way of putting that is we're short volatility.
So Yvette, I want to show this to Yvette. I want to move.
Yep.
I think we're feeding faster than they can eat. So Yvette, look at this. We got 82 cents short and 68 cents short. That's much bigger on our short trades, right, than our long trades. Now you saw this 200 here. Remember, that's not checked. So the reason Corey says this is a short trade is we have much more money coming in from our short stuff. We have money going out from our long stuff, just protection. Does that make sense? I want to make sure everyone kind of gets that. Now, this is the key. We're going to talk in the next 3 sessions more about delta hedging and how to get risk out of this. But it's important to know there's a lot more you could learn about this. And I'm going to set this up because Corey mentioned this. And Corey, I think it's worth mentioning, right? Guys, there are so many more ways. Kenneth, dude, you're money. You're solid. Kenneth Schaefer is money. Okay, so check this out. There is so much more you can learn about this. Are we good enough friends that I can give me and Corey a shameless plug? Let's vote. Am I okay with a shameless plug here? Okay, of course, we're all good enough buddies. Corey and I have been teaching you guys for 2 weeks. Do you guys realize that Corey and I have a course that is a year long on this subject? A year that you can learn. There's so much more you can do this. Can I just tease you a little bit and put on my salesman hat a bit? James Cole says, sign me up, sign me up. So I'm going to show you something. Watch this. Watch this. This will just kind of make you crazy. There's 3 things that help us make money on these trades. There's delta, which is the stock price moving. So obviously, this trade right here has a component of delta. If the stock price moves, it affects our outcome, doesn't it? If the stock price moves, if it moves down, it's going to affect our outcome. If it moves up, it's going to affect our outcome. That's the blue line, isn't it? When you look at the blue line doesn't change. It's the stock price that changes, right? Now, what is the purple line representing? Well, let's look at this. If I march the date forward, what happens to the purple line? The blue line doesn't do anything with the date. Why? Because the blue line has to do with the stock price movement. But as I move the date forward, I'm moving that line, right? So that line has a lot to do with what we call theta. So D is for direction and T is for time, theta. So that's called the time decay. And I've given you guys analogies of milk. Remember the expiration of milk and the little time decay graph that looks like this, and we've done that several times. Corey mentioned another word called vega. We do not cover vega in this course, but vega has to do with what we call implied volatility. And the reason we usually don't touch this is it makes people's brains melt down. It's just too much too early. But you guys have been so sharp, we're going to break that rule, and I'm going to show you something here. Let me take a picture of this and just hold your breath and understand this is bonus material. We're not going to go into detail on this here, but I'm just going to show. I just can't resist it. That's a problem, Corey. We can't resist it. Okay, watch this. Let's open this up so I can get rid of it here, and I can size it up for us into a decent size. I'm going to show you something that I think you'll find absolutely fascinating. Can we predict perfectly the direction of the stock? Can we predict perfectly the direction of stock in terms of predictive power? Do I have a crystal ball knowing where gold is? You guys would be absolutely no, never, right? And that's where 401k people hang out. I think it'll go up. They're directional. Okay, now watch this. Can I predict the time element of this? In other words, can I say, watch this, I think Monday will turn into Tuesday. Am I pretty safe on that? And you know what? I think April will turn into May. And guess what else? I'll make a big bold prediction. I'll even go long term. I think 2020, Corey, I think it's going to turn into 2021. And I'll tell you what, I can give you the exact date that will happen, January 1st. So can
Nailed
we do
it.
a little, I got it right. Michael Wheeler says my 401k is toast. It's a 201k now, right? So I can predict, oh, if I have 2 wives, this is fantastic. I love it. So I can predict, yeah, unless Armageddon happens. I don't think that's happening yet, but it could, right? It could. So yeah, I can predict the time. Now, can you predict volatility? Can you predict that implied volatility? Can you? You can't, huh? Well, when is it most scary? Well, yeah, I think you're right. You can't really predict volatility, but watch this. Just for giggles here, let's just throw on an implied volatility chart. I'll just show you guys something right here. Implied volatility. We'll add that, apply that, go here. Let's just pull something, let's just pull like some earnings, about that many earnings. Watch this. Earnings date, volatility crush. 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 Now this is interesting. Every single time Facebook comes out, the volatility grows into an unknown event, then the event happens and it drops. The volatility grows in an unknown event, then it drops. And the volatility grows, an unknown event, then it drops. And the volatility grows, an unknown event, then. So learning about volatility, does that tell you a little bit about the pricing of options? And these volatility crushes are significant in magnitude. So watch this. Let's just go back to our gold trade. And if you want to see a real sick trade that's more risky but more fun, Corey's like, Andy, don't you teach them this. I can just feel it. He's like, don't you show a beginner trader this. Don't you show this. Wham, wham. Now, my risk is much larger now, isn't it? But my probability is the same. But now I'm to 150 bucks instead of 60. I'm to 150 bucks instead of 60. But watch this. Right now, we're at $81 profit, right? $81 profit. I open this cogwheel, and remember how I could see the volatility crush was, we won't call it a perfect prediction, but it's likely. Would I be okay in saying that on Facebook, Andy's just throwing us some damn good bait for the plug? Thank you. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. And it is good bait, because watch this. Right here, I'm at 82. The stock doesn't move, but the volatility crushes. So let's say we just see a 5% drop in volatility. So I'm just going to put a -5 in here. Whoop, that's too big, 15. I'm going to put a -5 in here. Watch what happens to this line when I hit return. We got to see that again. Let's say that the volatility right now, there's no change in it, 0. Now watch what happens to this purple line when we have a volatility crush, -5. Ready? And it's going to go from 85 to, ready? Bang. Oh, whoop, that's 500. That'd be a little bit much there, Corey. I think that kind of made it crazy. Okay, let's try that. Bam. So I go from 85 to 112. That's a 40% difference in the price, and I can get out where I don't even have to wait for it to move. This is called a short straddle, and I can do a short straddle, and I can play the volatility too. We're not going to teach that here. I'm just going to introduce it. That's just bait. That's just bait. That's the Corona crush. That's the Corona crush.
And
hey,
interesting you say that, because
Theo said this is like David Copperfield stuff, dude. David Copperfield stuff.
But we kind of have had the Corona crush, right? We had volatility ramp up into really kind of the worst of the news cycle. And once the data really started to get bad, it's kind of the buy the rumor, sell the news type of dynamic. Volatility ramped. And now that we've really hit that horrible spot where all the data is coming in so terrible, look at what volatility's actually been doing. It's been coming down for the last 2 weeks.
So Corey and I actually know how to make money on the fact that this will return to normal. Serious cheese. You're teasing us, mate. He says, I had no idea this stuff was out there even possible, Robin North said. Yeah, you can do this with anything. Interactive brokers, that's going to take, you know what, Corey, that's a good point, because the better you learn this, the easier it is in the softwares. Zorn, It does take a while because there's risk graphs in interactive brokers. You just got to find them. It's kind of like buying a new car. You've been driving a Chevy and all of a sudden like, where's the freaking windshield wiper? Oh, it's on the other side of the steering column now. So it's there. You just got to find it. So beautiful stuff. You guys like this stuff? Is my name not showing up? MWin? It's showing up. I just called it out, right? MWin, so good, Christopher Pearson says. Loving it, Pa Fee says. Definitely a win. Oh yeah. So let's do, how are we doing on time, Corey? Because we got another thing to give. Are we okay
Oh,
to
I
do?
think we're good. Yep.
We're good. Okay. You guys all good on time? Having fun? Drinking through the fire hose? Well, we said it was a quick start lab. Quick start. So we're not going to do much Vega here. We'll do Theta and we'll do this. I'll tell you what, I would be a fun idea. So we did this trade on GLD, right? We did this trade on GLD. Let's send this in. So I'm going to change this a little bit. You know what? I'm just going to send it in different. So help me remember these. 70 and 75. 70 is the short strike. So I'm going to do this as one trade. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to change this to a vertical spread. And it really doesn't matter which one I hit here on the calls, but I'll go down to here where it's close. And we'll analyze a sell trade for vertical here, and we'll put in which one were we selling and buying?
Yep, you're on the right. So you're selling the 170, and then you need to flip the buy to 175.
Because I'm going higher. And a 24-cent credit. Now I'm going to confirm that. And I like to edit these just to see if I've got the higher of these two numbers when I'm selling. So I want that penny. I do. I want that penny. I'm going to confirm. I'm going to send this in. Well, it got filled immediately. So it got filled that quick. So I probably should have asked for more. But we're in it. I mean, we're in this trade now. We are in it. And now we need to see if gold rallies in the next 11 days. And we'll see it work out because we'll be in these trades for the Quick Start Lab. We'll get to see how this works out. But we're sitting pretty well right now. Even if this doesn't have quite the dramatic in volatility because we have some long positions that benefit from that volatility, but it's still net volatility trade too, Corey. This works great.
Net short volatility because,
crush.
And the way to think about that in your mind is, do you want volatility or do you want it to decrease? You know, if you want volatility to go up, we would have put on a different strategy.
Yep.
In this case, we want volatility to die down because we want it to stay within a range. And so that's one way to think about it, is what does my trade want to have happen? And that will tell you whether you're long or short volatility. If we put on a different style of trade, we could actually flip some things around and have a trade that would benefit if it made a dramatic move one way or the other. So very fun stuff.
Yulimar Trumbo says, could we build one of these from scratch? Absolutely, we could. We could build one of these from scratch. And since Yulimar asked the question, can you give me a stock? Is it Vulimar or Yulimar? I'm so bad with pronouncing Mr. Trumbo. That's what I'll call it, Mr. Trumbo. Would you like to give us a stock? Julie. Oh, Julie. Okay. Microsoft, someone says. Delta. Oh, that'd be like the worst candidate in the world, but we'll look at it. Why would Delta be a very bad candidate right here for an iron condor? Why would Delta be a really bad candidate for an iron condor? Who can tell me? It's just moving too much, isn't it? It's just moving, but let's do one anyway. So we do a fundamental analysis and we say, okay, this is not an investment, it's a trade. And we say, we definitely probably want it above this support, and we probably want it clear down here. So we want this sucker to be way wide, right? if we want to do it on Delta, okay? It's too volatile for me, but it's a good learning lesson, right? So I'm going to do this fast, Corey, if it's okay.
Yep.
Is I'm just going to go to analyze Delta right here. I'm going to take off everything we already have on it, because I got to tell you, the stuff we have on Delta, yeah, we're up 6. Ooh, that's like the double number, 666. That's, I better get it right on there. 669. That's better. We're already doing pretty well on Delta, and we've locked this down with minimal risk, but we could certainly uncheck these and we could certainly build one. So watch this. Add a simulated trade. What's the first? We simulate first, add a simulated trade, and we could do iron condors right out of the gate, and it gives us all 4 trades right there. So we'll start close to this, and we'll say, look, analyze a sell trade where we sell an iron condor, and it's going to build a really high one for us. Now, is this one a good one? Because here's your standard deviation. Should we make this skinnier or wider, everybody? Skinnier or wider? Wider, wider. Do you want to go above? You know, let's see where we are right in here. We said on the bottom side, we got to use technical analysis. We got to get below, not way, it's at 19 now. So here's our support. Let's do the top. We got resistance at 35. So we got to get at least above 35 resistance wise. Yeah, we got to get clear up here. That's a long ways. Don't know if we're going to be able to do that, but we'll try. Okay, and then down here, how about we go this? Why don't we go, I don't think we're going to get paid very much on that, Corey, but we'll see, because I know there's still premium at 12. So let's go down here and let's go Delta Airlines on the put side. What about we sell the 15 and buy the 14, Corey? Just throwing it out there.
I'm guessing you're going to get something on the put side, but you're going to have a hard time on the call side getting it.
People are more nervous about the put side. We still got plenty here to go. Let's go just outside. Let's go to 30. Let's go to 30, and then let's sell the 31. Okay, that's some pretty decent premium. Let's set our prices at break even, so we can just see where we're at. Okay, 84%, $16 on an 84. Should we push the upside just a little more? We don't need 16 bucks on 84. In fact, if I got 8 bucks on 84, I'd be happy.
Now, quick quiz: how much risk is in this trade?
Yes.
Look
how much risk?
Look at the trade. How much risk?
Write that down. How much risk is in this trade right here?
And we're not meaning, well, that's one way to look at risk, is probability of it failing, which is 15%. But I mean
probability. No,
right.
I'll give you a little hint with my cursor. How much actual money could you lose right here? $84. That's exactly right. $84.
And you'll notice where that comes from. We're doing $1 wide spread. Remember, you can't lose on both sides. So you don't add $1 plus $1. You just say, well, I've got $1 loss if it goes too low on the put side, or I could have $1 loss if it goes too high on the call side, minus it has the credit at 16. So if we bring in 16 bucks and we've got $100 spread, well, that leaves 84 at risk for $16 of profit.
So you guys remember, we make a promise here to buy, and we make a promise here to sell, because these are calls and these are puts. And then here we have choice to sell.
Protection.
And here we have choice to what, everyone? Choice to buy. So if it went down lower, we could buy at 14 and sell at 13, lose a buck. If it went really high, we could sell it, or we could, well, we promised to sell it here. So here we have the choice to sell it here. So we have a promise of choice. We're fine.
Yeah, I think you got those choices, the choices backwards. So it should be choice to buy up on the top, choice to sell.
Oh yeah, excuse me.
There you go.
That's why Corey's here, to keep me straight. Yeah, so I can buy it here and sell it here, lose a buck. I can buy it here and sell it here, lose a buck. That's why you're losing a buck. So thanks, Corey. Sometimes I need help when I'm drawing, speaking at the same time. So that's an iron condor from scratch, that quick. And what is the best way to get good at this? Question. What is the best way to get good at this? Kyle, that's the best
Love it.
compliment I could ever have. Kyle, or no, it's not Kyle, it's Kayla. Kayla or Kyla. That's the best thing. That makes my day. That absolutely makes my day. See that, Corey?
Yep, love it.
Yeah, we're going to practice. We're going to paper trade our butt off. Yeah, we can do so many of these, right? So many of these. My caps were locked. Yeah, it's with simulated money. Okay, so that's a quick one. Let's do another one though on, let's do one more here. Remember EOG from last week? You guys remember this from last week? Right? So let's check this out. Okay. From last week. Yeah, Teresa, that's where we're going to make our money is in the premiums. We're actually, let's go back to GLD. This is how we make our money, right? If we sell this short, we collect 68 cents. If we sell this short, we collect 82 cents. So we've got, what is that? $1.40, $1.50?
Plus 68, 150. Yeah.
We
If
got
I'm doing that
$1.50
right in my head.
coming in. We got 88 cents going out. So what's $1.50 minus 88, Corey?
So 62, I think. Right.
$1.60.
Yeah. $1.50
$1.50
minus
minus
88, 62.
62. Yep. So how much are we going to make if it stays in between here? 62. You can see it in the corner. 62 times 100 is $62. 62 cents times 100 shares is $62. So yeah, we make our money selling premium, which is freaky because think about, and I've been doing this for a long time, Corey, and this never gets old for me. The idea that I could build this Iron Condor on Delta Airlines. Oh, I got rid of it already. The idea that I could build this Iron Condor on gold, click a button and receive $62 like that is mind-boggling, because usually you got to go to work for a week and do a bunch of labor before you get paid. Here you get paid up front. You hit the button, you got $60. Now you're like an insurance company though. Now you got to make sure that you can keep your promises, which is why we have this risk management that we're going to work on the last couple of weeks. But we did gold. Let's do EOG because we did EOG last week, if I remember right. And this was called a what? A bear call credit spread. So who can tell me what credit spread we have to put on the other side to make an Iron Condor? Right now we have a bear. We'd like it to go down. We're using calls. Bear call. What trade do we want to put over here? Bull put. You guys got it. Fantastic. Put on the bull puts credit spread.
Bull put credit spread.
Do we want to have it inside or outside? Well, let's do technical analysis on EOG. See where it is. Okay, so if we're going to put, so we did a bear call and we were right because it's going down, right? So we got to be, because it went down here. Now we got to put the bull put down here somewhere, right, Corey?
Yep.
So we don't have any real technicals for support. It's already broken down its trend line. So we're going to go outside the standard deviation. We'll just go with outside of here and try to balance this. Let's take a look. Let's do singles so it's easy to see. So what do you think, Corey?
Stock is in the $40, well, $39 range right now. We could be looking at something like 30, selling the 30 strike put, something down there because it's at 39 now, right? So we'd go over and
I like this. If we went 29 or 30
or 30, if we wanted to create the same 250, because we got a $2.50, it could be 30, 27.50 if you wanted to look identical. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much premium here. Should we go 29 and 27.50?
What about selling the 30 and buying the 27.50?
I like that.
And you've got a 250 spread. There you go. I like
that. That'll balance it out. So now let's add our
Now we wouldn't do that for 4 cents. So what are the midpoints on that? You notice down there it's 29 and 25. Something looks a little.
So right here we got to get at least probably 15. The way to do this, let's look.
Are those showing the midpoint? What is the?
Let me show the mark.
Yep.
So the mark is 18 on this one, so we'll call it
And 38
19.
and 38 on the other.
38. So let's go on this one. We'll go. What's it? We're buying this one. So we only want to spend
Well,
18
take
cents on this.
18 and then go 38 cents on the one we're selling, and we'd pick up 20 cents in the process.
We'll see if that fills. Whoops. How many do I want to go here? I didn't see that one.
38.
38.
38 and a half. So we might be able to get more than that
So
20-cent difference. But
this is a huge return, man. This is ridiculous. I mean, we could go even wider down here if we wanted, because the puts are going to be rich, and we've already sold our calls. But for educational purposes, we'll keep it about even. That's an 88% chance of success. We got a 6% chance of having problems down here. Again, take these with a grain of salt, because an event can throw standard deviation out the window like a crazy event. So keep your position size small. But this is $47 divided by 203. That's just going to be an insane return, dude. Whoop, that's not that insane. 47 divided by 203. That's 23, but that's just stupid. For 11 days?
For 11 days, yeah. And
that's ludicrous.
And that tells you how much volatility is pumped into the energy market right now.
Guys,
there's
don't
a lot
expect to see this in a year from now. Don't expect that.
And there's a lot of uncertainty right now in the energy market, which also tells you that we need to be on guard, because these stocks can move quite a bit. Now, we've put ourselves out of what is already an expanded expected range. The markets, understand that this probability range is already wider because they're accounting for recent volatility, which has been so high.
Yeah.
And we're going outside of that, but that doesn't guarantee success. So, sometimes, again, I always emphasize that risk management element, because we need to be on guard, because there are some ways that we can protect ourselves when these go against us. And it's so important you understand how to do that.
The reality is, on this one, if this were my own account in reality, I would go wider. I wouldn't be this greedy. I would go even wider and go for a lower percentage. In a normal market, I'm looking for 8% on this with that type of percentage. I'm only looking for 8% profit instead of 23. This is like 3 or 4 times more awesome than it normally is. But I want to keep it here, and I'll tell you why, Corey. If we keep it here at these break evens right here, if we keep it here and we do get into trouble, it'll give us an opportunity to show, not just, we're going to talk about it either way next week, but next week we're going to dedicate it to how to get out of these. So here's your promise. Do we do this for real, or do we do this on paper this week? Do you set these things up for real or on paper this week? Okay, good. If you set them up on paper, then if the thing goes to hell, then we can help you fix it. Okay, we can help you fix it. And I kind of like this 80 instead of 90. So if it gets down into this nasty area outside of the standard deviation, we'll be able to delta hedge out of it or roll out or whatever we want to do next week. So that'll be cool. Okay. You got to compete. Okay. So this is how we're going to end. Where's Chris at? Where's my Tar Heel guy? Where you at, Chris? Say I'm here.
Not Tar Heel, Wolfpack.
No, Wolfpack. Yeah, he's state. Yeah, that's right. He's state. Valvano. Where's my Jimmy Val? There you go, Wolfpack. Valvano, right? Oh, we got a Zags guy. Come on, West Coast Conference, they don't play anybody. Hey, Donnie Daniels, Neil. I'll tell you about Don. Do you know who Donnie Daniels is, Neil? You know who Donnie Daniels is? Oh, Boise State. We don't have no Smurf turf around here. Look at this. Look at these people bringing in the Smurf turf on here. Jiminy Christmas. You're dead to me now.
That's a good response.
I love it. Oh, I love it. That's so awesome. Okay. Jim Valvano, Seaford High School grad. That's fantastic. Go Smurfs. Hey, so my wife sends me to the Duke camp. How about that? Do you think I'm old?
Nice.
The question is this. No, here's the question. Did I dive on that loose ball, or did I just fall over dribbling? Let's take a vote. Andy dove on that loose ball, or he just fell over. Oh my gosh, tripped on the laces, Carlos. Fell. Look at all this. Oh, I got it. One dive. That's right. Dive. Dove. Of course I dove.
If you
Now,
know what Andy tells his team, the
oh,
aggression,
jeez.
he was diving for that ball.
Let me tell you, I'll tell you the truth. I was freaking diving for that ball.
Yeah.
It's weird because this is in Cameron, by the way. They do it. It's a real fantasy camp, and you got to be 35 to play. So I'm 50. So these guys are young and I'm old. But I told my wife, I go, I'm going to take it easy. I'm not going to go crazy. I'm not going to go nuts. Dude, Coach K walks on the floor. Old men will you're going to impress Coach K. Like you're going to do anything to impress Coach K. Look how fat I am. Okay, I'm old, I'm fat, but you will burn every calorie in your body when someone like Coach K walks in. So
Right.
I was
How many times have you
I
shown
played.
that photo to your team?
You know what? I said, guys, this is what it's about. And my kids said, all my AU players, you fell over, Coach. Come on, tell the truth. You fell over. Nice sneaker game. Yeah, they gave me these sneakers, actually. They give you the gear, brand new sneakers, the whole bit, man. So it was fun stuff. I love to play. Missed the basketball. Missed that. No, I did not. Uh, nice, Tyler. It's close, but no, Tyler, I did not. I did not. At least not intentionally. I don't know. We'd have to look at the film. Ronald Miner turning 57. We got the 50. What is that? There's octogenarians are 80, septuagenarians are 90. What are 50genarians? Pentagenarians, I guess. Is that what it would
Yeah,
be?
maybe.
Pentagenarian? Probably. I'll tell you. So anyway, you guys are so much fun to teach. The plug I gave you is a legit plug on Ultimate Options. Ultimate Options isn't quick start. It's not fast at all. I can't bring up the PowerPoint. I couldn't even find it right now. But Ultimate Options, what we do is, let me tell you what Ultimate Options is. Okay, what we do is, you see all these different trades you can just do automatic. See these calendars, back ratios, verticals, diagonals, straddles, stringers, covered calls, butterflies on. See all these different trades you can just do. Okay. What we do is we go through these one at a time. And the first thing I make you do is take about a month we study like delta and theta and gamma and rho and vega. Like we do that for like 2-3 weeks. We just study the Greeks first. We study strike, we study option, we study time decay. We get all the basics down first, way slow with exercises. Then what we do is we take on one of these week to week, and you practice these week to week. And we have this huge sheet that you do 6 of them in. And this is what's really hard about the Ultimate Options class is, all these risk graphs that we crank out right here. I'm going to warn you before and by the way, I'm going to give you guys a special on Ultimate Options when this is over. So don't go buy it today, okay? And if you did go buy it today, email me and I'll give you the discount I'm going to get everyone else in this group, okay? So obviously there'll be a discount coming. You guys know that. But this is what's insane. You see all these risk graphs that we have in Mentor Club? Like we could go through and we pick any of these and there's all these risk graphs of different sizes and types and different stuff that we do, and they get pretty elaborate, like this is a pretty elaborate risk graph, right? In Ultimate Options, we have a rule, right, Corey, on risk graphs? Okay, on Ultimate Options, Larry, you call me in 2 weeks and we'll see if we can get you some help on that, okay, Larry? Because I appreciate that. That's pretty cool of you to do. So watch this. All these risk graphs, we have a rule that we never use the risk graphs in Ultimate Options because we don't use software. You actually have to get so good at this that if I draw a risk graph like that and I put a 0 here, that you actually have to draw that iron condor on your paper, and you have to know where these points are, and you have to be able to fill in all this stuff, and you practice enough to where you can do it in your head. Corey, to tell you the truth, Corey doesn't even use these risk graphs when he trades. He doesn't even use them. We just use them for you guys because you're new, because with Ultimate Options, you're going to be able to do those in your head. That's how good you're going to get. But that doesn't happen in a week. that happens in like training over weeks. But just out of curiosity, who'd like to be so fluid with this that if you just look down here, you could actually see the risk graphs in your mind? It's pretty cool, right? Yeah, a lot. I love this. Look what it says. This sounds great. More brain, less tech. I like that. Wax on, wax off. That's exactly right, man. That's exactly right. So we do this. He says, sign me up. We'll make you guys, let's do one thing at a time. We'll finish this. Then what we'll do is we'll make you guys like a freaking smoking offer on Ultimate Options, and we'll do some steep discounts if you want to keep your momentum going. But for the time being, one thing at a time, please. And we will go with gold. And what was the other one? EOG. Where's the next EOG at? We'll go with gold and EOG. Should we see if we can get this filled? I doubt we'll fill this one as quick, Corey. 30, help me remember these strikes because I can never remember. 30 and 27.50. So let's do it in one trade instead of two. Let's go here in a vertical. And we're on the put side, yes. Corey got muted again.
Oh, whoops. I was sitting there talking and thought you could hear me. Yeah, 30 and 27.50. So just
at least
click,
this one.
click one of those.
So we want the sell trade. So we just want to sell that vertical. And now I can adjust that. So
now you want to go sell on the, so switch that around. Yep. Perfect. Sell the 30, buy the 27.50 for protection.
And what do we want on that credit
We
total?
wanted 20 cents at least, right?
Yeah, so that's probably not going to get filled immediately. Whoop, open that up. We wanted 20, what'd you say, Corey? 20 what?
I think it was 20 cents total.
20 cents.
What we were looking at.
We're going to confirm and send this. I'm going to edit this, and notice this natural only has it to 16. It's only going to go to 16. We're asking for 4 more cents. And that is an awesome lesson. That is an awesome lesson. Look, if we ask for 20 and they give it to us, awesome. If we ask for 20 and it takes a while, awesome. If they ask for 20 and we don't get it, that's awesome too. You maintain control. Don't take what they give you. Make them come to you. If you want 20 and it's not worth it to you, it's see, it just went down to 15. We're asking a lot. That's a lot more. I mean, you think about 16 to 20, I don't know what that percentage is, but it's like almost 20% more money we're going for here. So this matters, right? This matters. So I'm going to confirm and send that, and it's not going to fill immediately. It's going to sit up here in my working orders. It's going to sit up here, and you're going to see that mark of 16. We need that thing to get at 20. So I'm good with waiting on that and not going, because you think about that. If we go to this trade and we just sold these, we're not going to bite unless they come to us. Okay, we're not going to take on that extra risk of losing on the downside if they don't come to us. So that's a great lesson right there. Yeah, we're counting premium, baby. Yep. Sean Stone says we're counting premium. You know, the good book says that the love of money is the root of all evil. And I believe that's true, but it never said anything about premium. You can love the premium all you want. Bring the premium in, ladies and gentlemen. So,
and Neil asked a great question about what if you're just getting your paper trade account set up? You might not get the exact same prices to fill, but it's still a good exercise to go put these trades on. So regardless, you don't think of a paper trading account as, well, I need to, track the numbers exactly on what they collected. It's more about place the orders, get some orders to fill, look at your risk to reward, pull up these risk graphs. It's just for practice and you can't break anything. So click around and have fun with it, and you'll learn as you go.
This is awesome. Let's do a speed round of the first 5 or 6 questions we can get. So if you have a little question, type it in. We can't do them all. And of course, Corey's there with the email and whatever we need. But let's do 5 or 6 questions. And I'll wait until I get a bunch of them on here, and then I'll take a screen capture like we did before, and we'll just hit them one at a time. If you guys are okay with that. Ooh, European options question. You want to do 1,000 shares? The thing about European options is you don't often take delivery of those, right?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, this is a great question. There's a couple of questions here that I've never been asked before. I wonder if Corey knows the answer. There's one in particular that I do not know the answer because it's never happened to me.
Which one are you looking at?
The one about, well, we'll go through them here. I'm just going to let one or two go on, one or two more. Okay, and then we'll cut it off. So that's good right there. All right, here we go. This is like 20 questions, so this will be good. So here we go. And then if you have another question, email us, right? That's going to be fine. Whoop, don't want that. We want, where is this? We want this. And this. And here we go. Okay, here we go. Should we check delta and theta when we buy? What do you think the answer to that is?
Yes.
Yeah.
When you're trading it, look at
Yes.
those numbers.
The delta, what's interesting is if you look at this right here at 6, you'll find that delta almost corresponds with the, just by coincidence, by the probability. So yes, absolutely. Yep. Generally, when is an iron condor a good idea? Now, this is a great question. If volatility is low, then premiums will be low. But if volatility is high, you're probably getting too much movement. So you've heard of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. They have a version of that up in Scandinavia, Christopher. You want it just right. So an iron condor would be nice where you have, I'll tell you what, let me do it this way from technical analysis. Watch this. I'm going to draw 3, A, B, C, X, Y, Z, and stock 1, 2, 3, okay? Number 1 looks like this. Okay, that's ABC. Number 2 looks like this. Okay, and number 3 is a chart that looks like this. Okay, which one of these from a technical standpoint, ABC, XYZ, or 1, 2, 3, would probably set up the best for an iron condor? No guarantees, but which one do you think? Let's just see what people are typing. 1, 2, 3. No question about it. Because right here we have some support and some resistance, and it seems to be going sideways. So we'd write our options out here. Notice that this is what Delta Airlines looked like that we were going to do. Remember, this is what Delta looks like. So very, very good question. Excellent question.
Yeah,
Anything you want to say about that, Corey?
A quick answer to that would be when your expectations are that volatility is going to die down. That's kind of as long as if volatility is high and you think, well, the stock is going to be choppy here and stay range bound, great. If the volatility is low and you think the stock's going to be kind of choppy and stay within this range, great. So it's more a matter of your expectations. It's more about, like Andy showed, which of those chart. If you think it's going to go wild, you don't want the iron condor. If you feel confident that volatility is going to die down, it's a great strategy.
Okay, this is really important. How do I place an order? There's a video called the Investor Boot Camp, the Beginning Investor Boot Camp. And I also go through this in the cash flow section of the 4 pillars, where we show you how to place the orders. Same software we're using. So when you place an order, if I were to just, let's just look at this one that hasn't filled yet, and let's look at analyze this trade. Okay, I'm going to show you how to do the order, but it's also there. So once I get it in here, I right click and I hit confirm and send. I usually edit it to see where I am in the midpoint, then I go back to confirm and send. Once you send it, it's in. It's in. Make sure you're in simulation mode. Once you send it, it's in. So that's how to enter the order. And we also, you can review a couple of those videos we got on that too. European options. A European style option, this would be an example of an index. It's not a stock. And so there's a couple of differences. Number one is you can't buy this stock. You can trade options on it, but you can't take what we call delivery. And we go through this really at length in the ultimate options class. But Corey, and then also the expiration, some expire on the Friday morning and some Saturday. Can you talk about the European style options in terms of delivery, non-delivery, and expiration?
Yeah, so European style, I mean, basically they settle in cash and they're not an early exercise where all of the things that we've been trading are called stock options and they deliver stock if we allow that to happen. Remember, we make promises and we have choices. So if you leave an option that ends up what they call in the money, and in these iron condors, if you go past the strike prices, they now move in the money. Either the stock falls down through the puts, they're moving in the money, or up through the calls, they're in the money. You can have stock delivered over expiration weekend. Well, again, as a trader, you're always in control and you get to decide whether you want that to happen or not. You can always close your trade out and not have any stock delivered. So we just simply manage the trade. And with European style options, the nice thing about it is you wouldn't have any stock delivered. It would just settle in cash. So you don't even have to close the trade. It would just settle out in cash for a gain or a loss. But sometimes we have people ask about that delivery of stock. It's really a risk management principle, and you don't have to worry about it in these iron condors unless it's one of those bad trades that really gets going the wrong way. And then yes, you need to close the trade. You can roll it out. We talk about, again, in ultimate options, we talk about all the risk management. We literally in ultimate options say, here's an iron condor. We teach you the trade, but then we go through different risk management and we say, well, how does rolling out work? Here's how it works. And we go through examples.
We
Yeah,
actually teach delta hedging before we
delta
even teach
hedging.
it.
But yeah, how does delta hedging work? And we show you examples of delta hedging. How does closing the trade out and taking half losses work? How does rolling it up or down to different strike prices? How would that work? We literally go through each one of the risk management steps to show you that.
And we're going to preview that next week, actually. We're going to do risk management. We're going to do what's called delta hedging next week. We introduced it 2 weeks ago, but you got to learn it like 10 times before you get it. Which module teaches risk graphs? Now, in the 4 pillars, these are the option strategies that I think a 4 pillars student should know. Number 1 is you should know the naked put. And I like to call that also a cash covered put. In other words, if we wanted to buy this, we sell a put to get delivery. No risk graph needed for that. You don't need a risk graph for that. The next one that we teach is the put for protection. You don't need a risk graph for that because it's a protective put and you know the strike, right? I mean, if I have a 70, if my stock is at 80 and that's my stock and my put is at 70, I don't need a risk graph to know that I got $5 of risk there and I have no risk below the premium. Premium's maximum risk. I have a speculative call, no need for a risk graph there. So that doesn't need a risk graph. I have a covered call and I don't need a risk graph for that because if I have the stock at 100 and I sell a call at 120, well, I know that my risk below is just owning the stock, and if it goes up, I'm going to make 20 bucks and get paid to sell. So these are the options that I do in 4 pillars. When we do quick start labs, these are when we start introducing risk graphs, and we do risk graphs in Mentor Club all the time. So that's where we learn these, is we actually learn them here for the first time, and in Mentor Club, you'll start seeing them there. So that's really good. Let me tell you, the risk graphs are a wonderful tool to teach quickly to understand, but ultimately I would recommend that you learn it the way Corey learned it. You never learned with risk graphs, did you? You just learned with looking at it, right?
Yeah, pen and paper. And I think there's some huge benefits to that, like Andy was saying. And I would literally write out the definitions because, you can make options way more complicated than they need to be. Remember, there's only 2 types of options. You have a call or you have a put. And there's only 2 things you can do with either of those options. You can buy a call, you can sell a call. You can buy a put and you sell a call. Every strategy hinges on those 4 possibilities. So when you talk about an iron condor, that sounds really complex and you've got 4 different options. If you write out your definitions, I've made a promise to buy here and I have the
like I
choice.
said, draw
Yep.
it like this. Say this is me and this is Joe Investor. I promise. Well, right now I know I'm getting the premium, right? And
Yep.
this guy has the choice. If you write
So
them out,
paying it.
there's
And
only
then
4 things to learn. And think about that. There's only 4 to learn. Buy a put, sell a put, buy a call, sell a call. There's only 4 to learn. So once you learn those 4 over and over again, think about it. It's like a piano with 4 keys. Like it takes a while to play an 88 key piano, but a piano with 4 keys, you can get that. You can do that.
Yep. And so it really simplify it down. Just simplify that process down to those definitions, and then it will tell you where your risk is, where your reward is, all of the details.
Okay,
Very
same
good.
strategies. I'll have to have you elaborate on that a little bit. Same strategies. What I would say is could you use these same strategies in any paper trade account? In other words, could you do a spread trade on any stock you wanted? Yes. Like, for example, what might be a fun homework assignment is we did an iron condor in gold. Okay, you guys go do one on silver, SLV. Practice. You're in a simulated account. You can't lose. Practice and start manipulating until your risk graph looks like ours does. That's the best way to go after this. Difference between ultimate options and coaching. Coaching is to get people started. Okay, coaching is to here's the thing about coaching. This is an important lesson. I'm glad you brought this up. This is very important. Very important. And this is not a sales pitch. This is for people's betterment. This is really important. You have ignorance. Someone said, why doesn't everybody do this? I think if more people knew, ignore ants. Ignore ants. There we go. I think if more people knew about it, they'd do it. Ignorance. I'm just going to write that better. I shouldn't talk and write at the same time. There we go. Ignorance. That doesn't mean stupidity. Look, I'm not stupid. Well, I'm a little stupid, but I'm not brainless. But there's a lot of things I don't know, not because I'm smart, but I just haven't focused my attention on it yet. Look, I don't know how to speak Japanese. I'll bet I could if I wanted to. I could learn that. I moved to Japan, hang out, right? Nanaska. That means, what is this? Ignorance, knowledge. You guys can feel this happening to you. And there's a gap in our life. Usually when we're not good at something, it's because there's a gap between what we know now about it and what we could know about it. Flying an airplane, I'm ignorant. I know a little bit about it, but not much. So we use the education continuum and we fill that gap by educating you. So this is classes. This is, what this is right here. This is 4 pillars. This is mentor clubs. This is Quick Start Labs, Ultimate Options. That's all this. Okay, now in my life, I'm pretty good here. I do a pretty good job here. I'll tell you where I suck. Where I suck bad in my life is there's also a gap between what I know. This is where I'm horrible. My knowledge, here's the big one, and this is where it really matters, is I misbehave a lot. Behavior. I misbehave constantly. For example, my wife tells me that there's 50 pounds that I have that she's not officially married to. Okay. She's like, look, you had a 6-pack when we were dating in college. You used to dive on that ball and, you didn't hear. Now you dive on the ball. The guys in Boise get a 6.5. That's right, Boise. That was my fault. I fell down my stairs and you guys felled it up in Idaho. Okay. That, my extra 40 pounds, 50, 40, 50, that is not part of our marriage contract. And my major in college was exercise physiology. So I completely understand 100% how I got my fat belly. I know how it's called Ben & Jerry's has 235% of the daily saturated fat that I need. And I haven't had one in the whole coronavirus. So I'm down a little. But I know exactly how this works. I have no deficit in why I've got this extra 50 pounds. But guess what? My behavior in how I eat, I have not implemented my knowledge. So I resisted coaching for a long, long time because I thought, look, this is what I do. I'm an educator. That's not my job to make people do stuff, right? That's their job. It's not like if I want help with an implementing, then I need to hire a coach, go to a gym and have them make me lift reps and get the nutritionist and the whole thing going. But what I found is there was such a desire for coaching for people to say, no, take me through this week by week. Those of you in the 4 pillars know at the end of a certain amount of slides, I have a checklist of stuff to do, right? Discipline, doing. So what the coach does is hold your hand through that. That's what it does. So if someone wants coaching for, we don't even offer coaching for ultimate options. Let me tell you, I've been asked for it a lot. We might look at that, but hopefully by the time you get there, you have enough discipline. Like, for example, here's a good test of whether or not you have discipline. Are you paper trading right now? Right? Are you, where's my, I lost my, my stuff. Are you paper trading right now? Are you building these risk graphs right now? Are you shutting off this recording and say, wow, that was good teaching? Or are you actually taking some time to struggle a little bit and to go through a little bit of that struggle and say, you know what? I'm going to do exactly what Andy said. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to SLV that fast. I'm going to say, look at this terrible thing. I'm going to build a condor on SLV. Well, I'm going to see what I can get for it, where I might go, and I'm going to fight and struggle and learn and practice, and you'll get good. You'll get good. So hopefully that was helpful. We got to fly through some of these questions. I'm taking too long on them. That's the UK one. Where did I put all my big question stuff, Corey?
Yeah,
This one's one from everyone's from. Hang on, I'll find it. Let's see, there's a paste board. Okay, that's everyone being awesome. There's a paste board. How about this one? Bam, how about that? I got it back. Okay, let's get through these. This is good stuff. Difference in ultimate options coaching. But why would they allow someone to trade who could lose an infinite amount of money? They will not. You have to have what's called level 5 access with most brokerages before they'll let you trade with infinite risk. And what happens is there's never been a stock that's hit infinity. It never has hit there. So what they do is they watch the amount of money in your account. If that stock starts going up and it starts getting close to infinity, which you can't really do because it's infinity, but if it starts getting up, they look at your ability to get out of that promise. They look at the money in your account, and what they'll do is they'll do what's called a margin call, which means they just call you up and say, look, we're not comfortable with how much risk you're taking right now. So you've either got to sell some positions, get out of this thing now, or deposit more money in your account. It's your choice. You can do either one. If you want to stay in this position, great, but you got to deposit some more money. And then if it keeps going, they'll call you again. And so the bank will not lose money. So the way they allow you to do that is they'll give you a margin call. They'll give you that leeway. First, you have to, kind of prove that you're that kind of studly to trade in a level 5 account. And then if it starts, getting risky, they'll call you and say, nope, you got to get out of that trade or put in more money. Delta hedging next week. Sean Stone, can you hang on for next week? We introduced it 2 weeks ago. Delta hedging is real. I did some last week. Do you guys remember at the end of last week, we had a risk graph that looked like this? And then I flattened, we were right here on it, and I flattened the curve like that. I made this go from a delta, which is a direction, to neutral, to where it was flat. That was delta hedging. So we're going to cover that next week. It's a huge thing to learn. We spend tons of time on this. This is the question I didn't know the answer to. How do you refill your account if you lose all the money? That's a great question because it's never happened to me. I've never lost all my money, and hopefully it hasn't happened to you. But if it did, that's awesome because it was virtual. I would imagine you'd call them and say, "Hey, load me up again."
and my guess is there's a way to change.
Settings.
There's probably in your settings, there's something where you can change the amount of money in your, because I know that I've set up a simulated trading account and wanted it to be a different number than what they defaulted. And I know I got in there and changed the amount, but I don't remember exactly, but there's got to be settings for it. So anyway, You should be able to reset the amount of the balance.
Okay, I
And
gotta
I'm
do,
getting responses. It looks like other people have reset their
I've done
balances
that.
at times.
Okay,
So
probably made it bigger.
Yep.
We got to do 11 questions in 6 minutes. Here we go. Best way to buy stock if you like to hold using options. I believe that I can't say the best because that's advice, but if you ask me a personal preference, that's a great option that you could look at as a possibility. How about that for legalese?
nice.
I love the naked call or I love the naked put, the cash covered put. I love looking at Delta. Let me show you. If I want to hold a stock, what I love is looking at Delta Airlines. Let's say I look at Delta Airlines real fast. This is such a good question to teach from. If I look at Delta Airlines and I say, it's at 20 freaking dollars, do I really think it belongs here? Do I think they'll fly this friendly sky? Is going to go, let's say it goes down half as much. And I come in here to Delta and I say, what will they give me? Just a single option, right? What will they give me on April 17th for half? So it's at 22. So they'll give me, let's say 13 bucks. That's insane return.
They'll give
If I
you
get,
over 1% of the stock's value,
look at
because
that.
notice the
Yeah,
premium is
13.
27 on a $22 stock.
Yeah,
They're going to pay you more than 1% of the stock's value to pick it up at about half of its value.
27 cents divided by $12. They're paying me 2%. That's for 2 weeks, guys. That's for 10 days.
To
right?
pick it up at $13 when it's trading
annualized, that's got to be like 30 weeks. That's got to be like 70% on your money annualized. So if I wanted to really buy it, I'd say instead of paying 22 for it, get what is that?
10% return.
I'd sell that one right now like this, and that's buy. I'd sell that one right now, and I'd pick myself up the stock probably around 22, and I get paid my first $2 to do it. That's
And it
better
depends.
than dividend.
It depends on how good you want your cost basis to be, because if you sell that 13 strike, you're going to get an incredible cost basis, but
you're not going to buy the stock.
Yeah, you're probably not going to get the stock, but you also need to consider one last thing, which is if somebody's willing to pay you some premium, some real premium for something, then it's possible.
That's risk,
okay,
yeah.
It sounds like, yeah, the stock's at 22. There's no way it could get to 13.
It would be awesome if it did.
Probably won't, but there's a possibility. There's somebody paying you some real premium there. It tells you that there's a lot of volatility in this stock.
And there could be people that own it at 6, because you could have bought it at 6 a long time ago, 3. How do I access the simulated trading account? When you do a simulated trading account in this software, and almost any software you do, the way it works is you bring it up like this. And so it will update its features or, whatever. And you can either go live trading with real money or paper money. And almost every one of them work this way. Then you have a username, right? Then you have a username, right? I can't type and talk at the same time. Okay, you have a username. Then you have a password, which is secret. Password, which is secret.
Noah's not going to be very happy with you if
everyone goes in and starts messing around.
Starts taking control of it while he's trying to get in there.
So let me get that right. Yeah, Noah will be like, what are you doing, dude? Everyone goes in and sets up all these different trades. Okay, so then you put that in and it'll load up. And once it loads up, it will say simulated account. If I had it on the right switch, simulated account. And almost every one of them work that way. Now, if you have Ameritrade or if you have E-Trade or if you have Schwab, call Schwab. Say, hey, Schwab, I want a simulated trading account. Hey, Interactive Brokers, I want a simulated trading account. Hey, Merrill Lynch, I want a simulated trading account. And they'll get you in there. So that's great.
There were predictions on that password, and the best prediction I saw was Ben and Jerry's. So if you want to take a shot,
that's not it. I'll tell you, that's not it. But that might be the next one I use. That is a good one right there, Ben and Jerry's. www.com overweight divorce Andy Tanner net. Okay. Um, how is probability calculated? It's used by standard deviation. Probabilities, they look at the past to try to predict the future. It's not perfect. Minimum money to need in a real trade account depends, Michael Wheeler, on the brokerage. Most of them like $2,000 to be able to trade on margin, but I've seen trades that $500. They like your money, so they're in business. How can you hedge with less risk than going long or short in the assets itself? So that's a protective put would be a great example. If I'm long in the stock, well, great, protective put hedges my risk, right? If I'm short, I could do a protective call. So that's cool. When the volatility goes up for our price, options go up. Is it better not to trade? No, not at all. Vera, I bought some insurance that I paid more for. In fact, Corey and I had this discussions. In my own personal account, I spent tons of money knowing that I wanted insurance on certain positions. And so it was tough for Corey and I to buy insurance. We talked about this, didn't we, Corey? Because
Yep.
we don't like to spend a lot for it. But you also have to realize that, dude, there's a reason it's expensive, is it might be needed. So it's not, sometimes you want to the time to take your ball and go home is when you don't know how to trade it. You don't know what to do. You shouldn't trade and stuff. That's why we do simulated trading, because we're not good at it yet, right? But no, if prices are rich, I might sell an option, but I have to understand those promises might be kept. So it's okay to trade at high prices. Absolutely. Which pillar teaches call options? That would be the cash flow pillar. Cash flow pillar, the third one. Generally speaking, what is the minimum amount of time so it's on our side? Okay, I like that question. And I think I got it cut off, but I think that's a time decay question. We really got to hurry here. If this is the time decay graph, right here, there's a little bit of time that goes here, a little bit more here, but a ton here. So I like 6 weeks or less is a seller, and 6 weeks or more, I'm a buyer. And we teach that in the cash flow module too. All that's in the cash flow module of 4 pillars. So that's where that question's answered, but it's good to answer it here too. Let's see. Is there a way to trade this with mutual funds? Yeah, but you don't trade mutual funds. You buy and hold mutual funds. You could hedge against them with an option, maybe, if you're in your 401k, you couldn't get to them. How does one monitor trades if he wants to go fishing? Well, what I do is I do this, GLD. I'll do this really quick. GLD, get a chart of this. Oh, I know that you see this here, watch this. Right now it's here. So watch, I'll come down here and I'll just set myself a little alert here, create alert. And I'll say, hey, if this thing goes below this, send me a text. Now I got an alert on that. If I see her, I come in here, I'll set myself a little alert. And I'll say, hey, if it goes above here, send me a text. And I could move these down to where I could, up or down. Yeah, let's replace that. So, I think I'd rather have it here. Give me attention. And then I replace. And that's how you go fishing right there, baby. Then if something happens, it calls you and you can get it going. That's another advantage I have with trading with Corey, is sometimes I could take the account, which I hardly ever do, but if I had to, I could. So it's nice to have like my spouse, she understands how to trade. Look, your life partners. Marcy knows how to go in. If I say, Marcy, I really need you, to go in, or I need you to watch the alerts, Marcy could go in and she could unwind this trade, delta hedge it for me. So that's important to do that. So to have that access, I think that's my thing. How do you develop a risk-free trade? Watch Mentor Club. What you do is you buy an option for a certain amount. When it moves in your favor, you sell an option for the same amount further up the trade. Watch Mentor Club for that. Do you always do an iron condor? No, I do not. It's like Corey said, it can be in a stagnant market nice, but not in a volatile market. That's why we have a class that teaches all those, 100 million. Iron condor is only one option of many, so I don't always do an iron condor, not at all. I do a lot of put spreads. If I'm bullish, I do a bull put credit. If I'm bearish, I do a bear call credit. Always do an iron condor. We got to go. we're out of time. Corey, you have a thing in 1 minute.
Awesome.
So
Yep.
I got to go. We love y'all. There's a coaching session for those of you in coaching. Corey's going to do the coaching for the week. So
There you go.
we gotta run. Love every one of you. You guys having fun? Give me a yes if you're having fun real quick. Thank you guys. Awesome stuff. We love you. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.